Okay, this video is for lesson 8.1 part 3. So before we get started into anything new, let's do a little review of both parts 1 and part 2 of this lesson. For example number 1, we are going to add 12 to both sides, getting the negative 12 and the plus 12 to give us 0, leaving the W. And then negative 8 plus 12 is 4. For our second example, we're dividing both sides by negative 8, canceling negative 8 divided by negative 8 equaling a 1m, and then negative 40 divided by 8 is 5. And I did it again. And the third example, we're going to multiply both sides by negative 3, canceling the negative 3's, leaving b, and negative 3 times 11 is negative 33. And now, even though you already know this final answer here, let me just show you how we do it in case you forgot. Multiply by the reciprocal of this number right here next to the x. So we flip 2 over 3 and multiply both sides by 3 over 2. So the 3's cancel, the 2's cancel, x is left, and then on the right we can actually cross simplify the 2's, leaving just 1 times 3, which is 3, and 5 times 1, which is 5. Okay, so in this lesson, we're going to focus on how to write our own equations from a word problem. So the first thing you want to do is write a let statement, which defines our variable. And I'll show you how to do that. Then you'll write the equation, solve the equation, and lastly, write a conclusion statement. Yes, that is a complete sentence. Okay, so this example is in your notes. It says Kelly walked 2/3 of the distance to Sam's house. She walked a total of 2 1/6 miles. How far is the total distance to Sam's house? So the first thing we want to do is write a let statement. The let statement is going to tell us what the missing information is. So in this problem, the missing information is the distance to Sam's house. So we're going to write let D represent the distance to Sam's house. So that's step 1, that's our let statement. We just pick a letter and we write what that letter is going to represent in our problem. Now step 2 is the equation. So we know that Kelly walks 2/3 of the distance to Sam's house. Whoops. The distance to Sam's house is what we don't know. So we are saying in this problem that Kelly walks 2/3 of our missing information, which is D, and then we know she walked a total of 2 1/6 miles. So we know that the total is 2 1/6. So I like to write that first equals 2 1/6. Remember that of means multiplication. So what this is saying is she's 2/3 times the total distance is what she has walked so far. So 2/3 times D is equal to the 2 1/6 miles that she has walked so far. What we're going to do is now solve this, and that will tell us how far Sam's house actually is. So we know she still has some distance to go. So before I actually do anything, I'm going to change my mixed number 2 1/6 into an improper fraction. So 2/3 D equals 2 times 6 is 12, plus 1 is 13 over 6. Now, remember, we want to get the D by itself. So we need to take this fraction, 2/3. We're going to flip it upside down. Let me actually use a different color to show. Multiplying by the number that will cancel the 2/3, which is the reciprocal. So the 3 and the 3 cancel, the 2 and the 2 cancel, which is great because we want to have just the D by itself, and we do once we can cancel those. So D, and then on the right-hand side, 13 and 2, you can't simplify those, but you can simplify the 6 and the 3, both by dividing by 3. So 3 divided by 3 is 1, 6 divided by 3 is 2, so we have 13 times 1, and 2 times 2 is 4. So 13 over 4, or 4 goes into 13 3 times without going over. 3 times 4 is 12, so that means there's 1 left over out of 4. So our final step is to write a conclusion statement. So the question was, how far is the total distance to Sam's house? We're just going to rephrase that and put our answer in. The total distance to Sam's house is 3 1/4 miles. Doesn't have to be a paragraph, just a short, sweet sentence. Okay, so take a minute or two. I want you to try writing these equations for each of these 2 word problems. Okay, so for this first one, I'm just going to say let F equal amount of flour. So that's important that you know what your letter is representing. And we know that at 1/8, he has 1/8 of what he needs. So 1/8 of some amount that we don't know equals 4 cups. So we know that 4 cups represents the 1/8. We're trying to figure out what's the total. So that is our equation for that one. Okay, now that we have the equation, I would like for you to solve it. Okay, to solve this one, you should multiply both sides by the reciprocal of the number next to the F, which is 1/8. So flip that, make it 8/1. The 8's cancel, the 1's cancel. And then on the right-hand side, we end up with just 4 times 8, which is 32. And we're going to say 32 cups of flour. We should say Michael needs 32 cups of flour. Okay, now let's try writing the equation for example number 2. Okay, let's just go with X for this one. Let X equal the amount before buying. You don't have to write a full sentence here, just short and sweet, but make sure it's specific enough, not just like dollars. Okay, and our equation is he spent 3/4 of the amount that he had. So 3/4 of X, which is 3/4 times X, he spent a total of $84. Okay, and now that we have the equation, try solving it. Okay, so same as the last one, we're going to take the 3/4, we're going to flip it to 4/3. The 4's cancel, the 3's cancel, X is left. And then on the right here, this one's a little harder than the last one to solve. We can actually cross simplify 84 and 3, believe it or not. 3 goes into 84 evenly. So 84 divided by 3 is 28. That's a hard one. You might not have known that one without actually trying it. And then we basically just have 28 times 4, which is 112. So our final answer is you had $112. That's good for that one.